Boom, welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're talking about my best performing pickups, my best wins, how they've performed, where they're sitting at today, and what I'm going to do with them in the future. So if that sounds fun to you, sit back, relax, and welcome to PokeMarketLab. All right, folks, so let's get started here. A reminder, if you like what we're doing here at PokeMarketLab, please give us a subscription. Leave any feedback in the comments below. Give us a like. It's all appreciated. So yeah, I thought it'd be pretty interesting to talk about some of my better wins. I'm not trying to brag. I've been doing this a long time. I've done the same kind of thing. I buy stuff that I like that seems to be really cheap in price. I've done this with stocks. Done it in other asset classes as well. It served me really well when we're talking about subjective markets like this, even objective markets like the stock market. Sometimes the fundamentals go out the window. Sometimes subjectivity is a fundamental that you can look at, especially when we're talking about a collectible that you like. So that's really the only thing that separates me from most people is I buy what I like. I don't let the price, a high price does not mean it's a good product in my mind. And I was deploying a lot of capital when no one else wanted some of this product. So it's going to seem like it was, I'm predicting the future. None of it's the case. I always do this. I stick to my guns and it's served me exceptionally well. So again, I'm not trying to brag. I just thought this would be just be kind of fun and interesting to go through here. So with that, let's get started here and look at my first product, my first big win. And of course that's got to be the best of the best. I don't know if it's the best of the best, but yeah, 151 ETBs, regular ETBs, not even the Pokemon Center ETBs, though I do have a couple of those. I went pretty heavy. I shouldn't say heavy. I'm not going to go into super detail. As some of you know, you've been here, quite a while here. I talk about operational security. I do not like to put out there, how much product I've sealed in my house, just like you wouldn't, say, hey, I got a case full of gold. I got a vault full of gold in my house. You wouldn't advertise that to the world. So I'll kind of give you some hints as to where, more of the capital sits in terms of which product. But yeah, 151. Seemed like a slam dunk to me at the time. It's 151, right? This is not like Black Bolt, White Flare coming up. It's a Generation 5 era. It's not. A lot of people don't have exposure to it, so it's a little bit of a gamble to have one generation in a set. It's a good thing too. Long term, it's going to be a good thing. But 151, going back to 151, looking at the artwork. The artwork was a bit of a gamble at the time. We had not seen that kind of cutesy scene art, as I'll call it, especially with SIRs. Typically, it's focused on big bad Pokemon, right in your face. To have Charizard flying through the air or Charmander sitting inside a cave and have it be a very small portion of that. We had not seen a lot of cards like that in Sword and Shield. So this was a departure. This was like, seeing this kind of artwork in 151 was like, whoa, what's going, pretty big departure. It was a gamble. And to me, with the 151 name, it was a pretty good slam dunk, I would say. So my average cost basis with this was all pre-orders. I haven't snagged a single ETB post-release. I feel like I had enough at the time. Again, I won't go into exactly how much I have. I would say quite a bit, which again, that's relative to each individual, but my average cost basis is 31 bucks. These are sitting at about $240 right now, and that's a 687% return. That's without fees or anything like that. If I were to sell, in any marketplace, obviously it would take a pretty big haircut off of that. But this is just a surefire bet. I have not liquidated any of this. I will talk about a little bit of that. I do some trimming here and there. I never trim out of a product completely. It's always, my methodology is buy a bunch of something and then trim as it increases in price. And it really kind of, you get to the point in the hobby where it gets big enough where you start to create your own cash flow. If you're constantly selling stuff here and there and freeing up some capital along with profits and reinvesting that back into what you're doing, that kind of sell to cover method works extremely well for me, but never exit completely. I don't want to miss upside on anything. Some people are like, I never sell and I'm just diamond in. Like, that's fantastic. I never exit completely. I do very, very little trimming. But again, I want to capitalize on certain market periods. People are like, you can't time the market. That's BS. You absolutely can to a degree. Hot market like this, if your goal is to make a profit on something and you're not liquidating in any way, shape, or form, and maybe you don't have to. I have to free up some capital. I want to have some capital sitting around for opportunities. So I want to liquidate here and there just to free up a little bit. So again, I just want to have something to be able to make moves, especially if the market goes sideways, market goes down. I want to be able to, pick up, people are knife fighting each other for price. I want to be able to take advantage of that situation. So yeah, fantastic product. Absolutely great hold. Have not trimmed any of this. Will continue to hold for the foreseeable future. This is one that, again, $30 cost basis on this is fantastic. One of the things that I love about this hobby, I'll talk about a little bit more further in the video, is how I got the product. Snagging it, that to me is fun. It's almost like the hunt. Whether it's a Pokemon Center drop, if you are interested in Pokemon Center drops and you're trying to time that and not have to hope and pray that you get in line, make sure you're using a service like Sleeved TCG. There's a link in the description. In-stock notifications for all Pokemon Center drops. We had a drop today, which was, I think we got some Fusion Strike sleeve booster packs, and there's some other tins that weren't a great value. I think I missed out on it. Unfortunately, I was busy doing something else, but man, I've snagged. It pays for itself. It paid for itself in the Prismatic Evolutions drop. It paid for itself in the Prismatic Evolutions Ultra Premium Collection drop. So yeah, so 151 is what it is. Fantastic product. On to the next. I've talked about this one before. This is one of my favorite products. One of the best looking products I actually have one here. I will show you real quick. Just a beautiful looking product. Absolutely gorgeous. And it's not the pack content. It's actually the promos here in the box design. It all just works. This just goes to show when you have beautiful box design, great promos, even the packs in here. You got Lost Origin, Brilliant Stars, but there's no Evolving Skies in here. You got Astral Radiance in there, which isn't anything fantastic. These have just done so well. I picked these up this was a GameStop exclusive, which I think helped tremendously. It just wasn't. I say there wasn't a ton of them. There's not a ton of them now. There was at one period of time, which is why people were just fire selling them. I got my cost basis for these, and I do have quite a few of these, $38 each, and these are up to $172, 352% gain. Just a fantastic product, beautiful design, great price performance ratio. Again, you just got to be careful storing these because water damage, mold. Unfortunately, I did lose a couple similar products. This really reminds me of the Jolteon, Flareon, and Vaporeon premium collections. I had two of these I got on Walmart just on a whim for like $30 a pop, and I did get water damage on them. So just keep that. I don't think people talk about that enough. How you physically store product. I keep beating this drum. Please make sure you're considering that. You're reducing the risk as much as possible. Wrapping things in plastic, putting them in tubs, setting up water detection sensors is a very cheap. All those things, those mitigation things, they don't eliminate the risk, but they're very cheap things to do. To store, even these are like $200-300 a pop right now, right? I mean, to not take any measures to protect that stuff is just crazy to me. I don't think people talk about that. I knew if you got to do something, and even then, you cannot eliminate the risk completely. So that's one of the downsides of this hobby and collecting a physical product. You have to safely secure it and protect it from theft, fire, water, all those things, and those risks can't be eliminated completely. All right, on to another fantastic product, one of my best pickups, best performers, a fantastic set. Again, I buy what I love. I buy a little of everything, but when it gets to stuff like this where it's I love it, I try to back the truck up, so to speak, and load up on it. So Paldean Fates Elite Trainer boxes. Whoa, man, where the heck is the reprint on this? We've gotten nothing on ETBs. We've gotten barely anything, barely a scratch on the surface for booster bundles. They're just none whatsoever. This has to be one of the least printed initial product releases that I have ever seen, and then the subsequent lack of availability post-release is wild. This one is like, maybe we get nothing. Maybe they don't go back to the well on this whatsoever. Maybe we're going to get just whacked upside the head. I would absolutely love to load up more on this. I did trim a couple boxes just because I do think there could be the potential of, additional purchases of this in the future if we do get a reprint, market correction, anything like that. I think it's a strong set, but it's not a Prismatic Evolution situation where, the market could absorb massive reprint or anything like that. I don't know that we'll ever get that for the set, to be completely honest with you. But I trimmed a couple boxes. I still got plenty left. My cost basis average is about $33 a box. And when I say cost basis average, that means I get obviously some above that cost and some below, but I think everything was under $40 for these, and I've picked them up. I kind of dabble. I don't go all in at one point. Again, I'm cash flow, constrained. So it's buying a few boxes here at this price, at this location. I see another opportunity, deploy a little bit more capital, and I kind of pick away at things. There's some situations, obviously, where I get such a steal of a deal. I believe in the product so much that I just load up. But awesome 448% return on this. Again, this product is new enough for me that I'm a little, I wanted to trim a little bit just to free up. I mean, again, why not take some profits? I have plenty left to ride. I don't know if I covered my entire cost basis, but awesome product. You got Bubble Mew, you got the baby shinies in there. Fantastic product. Of course, I'm going to talk about Crown Zenith, right? I have to. My all-time favorite specialty set. Yes, even compared to Prismatic Evolutions, though I do love Prismatic Evolutions. It's just the pull rates on this. It's such a fun set to open. There's a lot to love, and this has just performed exceptionally well. 295%. I'm really shocked that we haven't hit that $200 price point. I think it's really just due to supply. We did print this in many large waves, which kept the price down. I was picking away at this as low as $35 each, as high as 50. I think after 50, I kind of stopped. I've been picking away at the other collections within Crown Zenith too. I do have the Pokemon Center versions of these boxes, which are fantastic. You all know my feelings on that. So while I'm not the biggest percent performer, this one to me is just, I have an emotional attachment to this. I have not sold any Crowns. I'm trying to think. No, I haven't sold any Crown Zenith. I do have some special collections, some of the Pikachu special collections. Probably should have included that because that's actually a good performer. I got those at $15 a pop. I think those are over 60 now. So percentage-wise, those would have been good. I'll probably trim some of those because I have cases of those. Crown Zenith, I want selfishly to be able to open in the future. Like that is absolutely, I want to be able to open this product with my kids. That's what I remember. I remember one summer just opening a bunch of this. I was getting it at Amazon next day delivery while we were on vacation and just opening like a box a day for like $35 a pop. And it was just such a blast. So fantastic product. Surging Sparks. My head's a little bit in the way here. Let me move my head. Yeah, so this is one where I was reading the tea leaves. So this one I will pat myself on the back with and say, I saw the previews. I saw where the market was going. I saw the market hadn't caught on to the point where, like, the market right now is there's no deals. You can't find, when I say no deals, you find Surging Sparks for like $215, $218 a box, right? You're not finding it below $200 a box. Back before the market ran up, like back in October, there were still deals, right? So even the market was catching on. There were still, if you knew where to look, you could find boxes for cheap. And this one was like, man, this got Pikachu on it. The card previews were looking fire. It's a beautiful logo. The market was starting to turn. Twilight Masquerade was starting to catch its legs. I was like, this is going to be a flashpoint here. So I backed the truck up on this. I will say I had probably a few cases of this at my high point. Booster boxes, I've trimmed some of that. Again, I trimmed it about the $250 position. We can see here on the screen. We actually have a pretty decent depth of market, depth of people willing to sell on TCG Player now. 1,200 boxes here. I think the reprint was pretty hefty, and this is still actually, out of any booster box in Scarlet and Violet, is probably the best buy in my opinion. I think if you can see a product listed on TCG Player with that kind of depth of market, and you understand supply and demand dynamics, you know that this is a pretty darn good price. The only risk here is really just reprints in the future that could drop that even more. But it's a fantastic set. I've loved opening it. I had good luck opening it. It's got Pikachu on it. Yeah. So this one, I'll pat myself on the back and say I read this one correctly. I knew this was going to pop. My cost base is 103 average. So I think the most I paid was about $110. I trimmed probably at least a case of this just to, again, free up some capital. And it's a measly 116% performance, but pretty good for time to performance ratio in terms of how long it sat on the shelf to get this kind of performance. So excellent pickup. Fusion Strike, another of my just top Horseman sets, one of the best sets of all time. One of my, I think outside of Crown Zenith, really my favorite regular set in Sword and Shield. The chart here in TCG Player is broken, but everyone knows what this has been doing. $740 a box. My cost base is $120. I have trimmed some of my position. I have some left, and I'm at the point where I've covered my cost basis and then some. So I'm just going to hold on what I have. And I've said this before, the story of how no one wanted Fusion Strike. And when I say people were practically giving it away, I'm not kidding. Some of the cheapest booster boxes I've ever gotten were Fusion Strike at $85 shipped. Crazy. And that was, again, was like, I don't know, it looks pretty good to me. That Gengar is awesome. And if I'm like, hey, $85 a pop, even if I just rip it myself and get that Gengar, it's a beautiful set. So again, you can't just look at the price and say, oh, it's $80 a pop, no one wants it, why should I buy it? I mean, if Pokemon's done what it's done over the last 30 years and you assume that's going to continue, isn't that the best opportunity there possibly could be? And this was really in the shadow. A lot of this, Fusion Strike was in the shadow of Evolving Skies. It's like, okay, this Evolving Skies is a flash in the pan. It can't happen again. Fusion Strike's not going to do anything. But again, just stop and look at the cards in the set. It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful set. So one of my best performing boxes, one of my best holds. This is one where you kind of kick yourself for trimming your position, but never try not to kick yourself for taking profits. That's why if you're in this game, or you want to continue to be in this game and you want to make money to be able to spend the money to continue to grow your collection, never kick yourself for making profits. It sucks. I mean, I wish I didn't have to do it. But again, if you're capital constrained, you got to do what you got to do. And the few boxes I have of this left are going to ride forever. So, and on to, speaking of which, Evolving Skies ETB, $297. My cost average on this, I think I have 4 of them at $53 a pop. I did miss the boat on Evolving Skies booster boxes. That was one where I was like, my fundamentals of not chasing the price of a product, that's how I roll. And that's why I miss something like Evolving Skies, but then I catch something and I have enough capital to deploy for something like Surging Sparks. 460% return on this. I picked these up. I remember once, Evolving Skies, probably these were hitting about $100 a pop. I was at my local game store and they had a sale. Didn't realize Evolving Skies was doing Evolving Skies things, and they had them for like $45 each. So I grabbed a couple. Again, I love the hunt. I remember I carve out this piece of my brain where I just store away how I got product. The thrill of finding a deal on TikTok, finding a deal online, scoring product in person, that's just fun. That's to me, that's just a blast. I remember how I got that product matters as much as the performance. The performance I'm not going to remember, right? It's not an event necessarily, right? It's just it's temporal. But finding that product and that thrill of that score and like checking out, the thrill of checking out and you're shaking like, oh, I can't believe I got it at that price. Is just awesome. It's part of the fun for me. So this is obviously Evolving Skies. Wish I had booster boxes, but very, very happy to have Evolving Skies ETBs, and I think they're beautiful. They have evolutions on them, so of course they'll do well long term. And then that brings us to the last one, but certainly not least, my single best performing product that I have. And while I'm not going to tell you exactly how many I have, it's a lot. I will tell you I have a crap ton of these. I love the story behind this because it's just fun. And again, I kick myself for not getting more. My local grocery store had these at $3.99 each. This was when they were about $7 a pop. And I grabbed probably 100 of them. I went back. I was like, you know what, dude, back the truck up. Come on, this is Evolving Skies. We don't have to, this checks the box. You like it. Market likes it. These are easy to store. These carry a premium. You're getting them at a really good price, right? Typically you'd find them at $4.99 a pop minimum. Right now, I'm closer to $6 a pop. Go back and get more. I went back, grabbed more. Someone had already picked through some of them, so I didn't have as many, and I was kicking myself. So as much as diversity is important, you have to trust yourself too. If your gut feeling, especially if you've been doing this for a period of time, is go all in. Not all in, but if it's checking a lot of the boxes, increase your spend on it. Like increase your exposure. Don't go completely all in, but just you got to trust yourself, especially if you've been doing it in a period of time. I should have trusted myself that first time. I probably could have gone to a store clerk and say, give me everything you got in the back. Right. And it would have been, I had the money. Like it wasn't that I didn't have the money, but yeah, I got a lot of them, hundreds and hundreds of these, 900% return on this. I have not trimmed any of these. This is going to carry. This is my Evolving Skies exposure. I didn't get a booster box, but I got many booster boxes worth of sleeved product, and these are fantastic. Liquidating these, they sell. Their sell rate's really good. It's just going to be a pain. I'll probably try to sell them if I do trim any position on this. I'll probably sell them in some bundles. eBay may be the better way to go for something like that. You sell 5 at a time so you don't get just completely eaten on shipping costs. So that brings us to the end of the video. Some of my best wins. Again, not trying to pat myself on the back. Surging Sparks was certainly, I think I can give myself kudos on that one. But this is just, again, I buy what I like. I buy it cheap, which means in a time like this, I'm not buying as much product. I'm buying some. Again, I'm buying stuff that, Pokemon Center ETBs that come in stock. When I get those in-stock notification alerts from Sleeved, stuff at Target that comes in stock, Walmart. So I'm making purchases of stuff I like, just not as much as I used to. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. If this is fun, should I do my worst performers? Not a lot in Pokemon, but there are some. So let me know what you think. And with that, we'll see you on the next one. PokeMarketLab out.